They're never going to go back home. So they want to help them as much so that they're never just walking out of here and feeling like they're going back onto the street. They work with them throughout the process here to help them adjust to this new world order that they're going to be living in after this.
You've found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter where they were accepting people were caught killing everybody that was in there.
We are here today not just to talk about the future of this company. We're here to talk about its destiny. We're here to talk about the end of the world. We stand on the brink of Armageddon, diseases for which we have no cure. Fundamentalist states who call for our destruction, nuclear powers over which we have no control. And even if we navigate these dangerous waters, we face other, even more inevitable threats. Global warming will melt the polarized gaps within 80 years, flooding 90% of all habitable areas on Earth. Unchecked population growth will overtake food production in less than 50 years, leading to famine and war. This is not conjecture. This is fact. One way or another, our world is coming to an end. Now the question is, will we end with it?
What do you propose?
I propose that we end the world, but on our terms. An orchestrated apocalypse. One that will cleanse the earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before, with great success. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's over, we will emerge onto a cleansed earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
And just how do you intend to achieve this?
The means of our salvation are already at hand. I give to you.
You've tuned in to Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet on this September 11th, 2017. And today we remembered the victims of that fateful day. But we don't remember the survivors that have had to deal with this post 9/11 Gulag, Orwellian 1984 Gestapo Stasi police state. And it's almost become hyper-normalized, where we just accept what our country has become. We don't even question it anymore. Oh, they're spying on us. Who cares? What can I watch on television? Oh, they're taking away more of our rights. That's okay. There might be some nice game I can play on my cell phone. People don't even understand how much our country has changed. 1/3 of the people out there never knew the free world, ladies and gentlemen. They never knew the pre-9/11 world. They've always been living in the homeland. And these people fully accept what they see on television as the truth, as normal. And so there's a great divide in our country. It's not black and white. It's not even Republican or Democrat. It's those that are awake versus those that are asleep. But for those that are awake, what you need to be asking yourself is, what are you waking up to? And it may not be exactly what you think. Obviously, 9/11 was an inside job. Obviously, the system is rigged. But the story is much worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. There's an agenda going on. There's a plan happening. And it's being rolled out as we speak. And people don't even notice what has happened to their food, to their water, to their air, to the entertainment. They don't even bother to question many of the things that have changed in our current society, in our world. But if they begin to connect the dots, it becomes quite clear that in fact what we're dealing with here is manifest evil, pure evil of the darkest kind. A type of evil that wants to eliminate humanity, that wants to corrupt the human soul, that wants to give birth to a beast system, put the mark of the beast on everything, everywhere you go. This pure evil is plotting your demise. It is terrorizing the population. It is destroying the planet as we speak. And whatever this evil is, it is a clear and present danger to humanity, to our country, and to, well, obviously future generations. You may not care about your country, you may not care about yourselves, but perhaps you will care about the children that are being victimized by this cult of death that has taken human form and has acclimated us to its appearance on the television. And most people are stupid enough to celebrate it. They see their celebrity, they see their politician, and they want an autograph. They feel overwhelmed with some sort of joy. But if you knew what these people were up to behind closed doors, you wouldn't be so eager to get their autograph. Perhaps you'd be eager for there to be a warrant for their arrest. But the problem is that this dark side, this evil force, is occupying every level of government. It controls the media. And so there is no clear or fair coverage of what matters most, nor is there any sort of justice that is undertaken when it comes to righting the wrongs that are occurring in our country at the highest levels of our government, and of course on the television. And I guess you don't really have to look much further than the Hillary case. There's an orgy of evidence there, and yet there is no prosecution. It's even come out that the former director of the FBI was covering up the crimes. So there's obviously something terribly wrong with our world today, something terribly wrong with our country. But you just have to look a little bit behind the veil. You just have to ask a few more questions about what you're seeing, and you'll get the answer you've been looking for. It's not your imagination. There is something terribly wrong. When you see the Georgia Guidestones, when you see 9/11 happen in our country, on American soil, a huge injustice, as huge as Hillary, if not more, and not a single honest bit of coverage on it, not a single honest attempt to investigate. The media is a sham. The 9/11 Commission was a sham. And it's a sham because they're not there to help you. They're there to deceive you. They're there to control you, and they're there to hurt you. I mean, these people are there to basically cause as much damage as they can. And that's why, you know, the food is the way it is, the water is the way it is, the air is the way it is, the movies are the way they are. It's all there to basically work against you. The whole system is corrupt. And it's a clear and present danger to our country. And right now in government, it seems like there's only one person that's calling it the way it is, for the most part. That's our president, who's under siege by quote-unquote Republicans and Democrats, calling the news fake news, telling these politicians that they want to drain the swamp, but the swamp is pushing back. So we felt like we won a battle on the last election day, but the war is definitely far from over. And I guess you really have to understand what we're up against to really appreciate the nature of this battle and the obstacles that are in our way. But truly what we're dealing with here in this form of pure evil that has managed to occupy our government and our media, poses our politicians and our celebrities. It seems like these are people of a different kind, from a different world. What kind of people would put up the Georgia Guidestones, mandate 100 vaccines for children, watch autism rates skyrocket, feed the people in Flint leaded water and the rest of the country with hexachromate and fluoride and who knows what else? What kind of people would do that? Think they're human? Think they're something else? That's something that we've been asking recently over the past few broadcasts. If you haven't seen the last few broadcasts on this channel, be sure to check those out as we get into much more detail than we're probably going to get into today. But everybody should be aware that what we're dealing with is certainly some sort of interdimensional threat, some sort of interstellar threat, some sort of insurgency that is trying to occupy our planet and destroy humanity. That's basically why we're seeing what we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen. Now you can call them demons, you can call them the devil, call them whatever you want to. You can call it they live out there. But that's really what we're trying to get at. It's not easy coming to this conclusion. But if what we're dealing with is human, it's a new definition of the word. Because obviously what's going on now is a genocide on a scale never seen before. And we don't see the most of it because it's covered up, but if you've been watching what's happening in other countries, it's mass genocide. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, probably a year, are being killed by this system. And in our country, they're doing it a little bit differently. They're using silent weapons. Again, the food, the air, the water, and even the death towers that are springing up around you. Most people haven't thought twice about these death towers that are everywhere. But these two are a threat to human health and personal well-being. With a range of about 120 miles, this is what a 2 kilowatt magnetron can do. Imagine what some of these megawatt transmitters can do. In any case, there's a reason why they put up these big, danger signs around these towers. They're not good for you, that's for sure, but they more than likely have another nefarious purpose. The perfect mass killing mechanism. We won't get into the specifics of the frequencies required for cardiac arrest or respiratory arrest, but they do exist, and it's easy to deploy, as easy to deploy as tuning into a frequency on your radio dial. The problem is that the chessboard has been arranged around us, and we're basically 2 moves from checkmate. And so many people are so far out of the loop that, just trying to clue them in on the current situation almost seems preposterous. It's so hard to believe that this could be happening around us and in front of our very eyes. But in fact, you just have to look at the Georgia Guidestones. You have to just look at what they put in the water, in the air, in the vaccine, in the food. Your food's illegal in most other countries. The mark of the beast on everything you buy. You've got companies like Google who send all of their money the P.O. Box 666 Bermuda, put the mark of the beast on all of their Google Chrome logos and the like. Ever wonder about that CERN logo? Ever wonder why there's a TV show called 666 Park Avenue, or a TV show called Lucifer, or why there's Luciferian after-school programs? Are you not getting the picture? You think it's your imagination? You think it's my imagination that there's the Georgia Guidestones? You think I put them up there? Is that what you think? Yes, it is. It is. It is rather quite a bit to take in. Oh, check that out. Did you see that? But this is the true nature of the world we live in. This is what is behind the veil. This is what you're reading in between the lines. And this is why you have basically every Hollywood actor and the like product placing the Luciferian agenda. Did you hear this, reporter? Oh, these people aren't ever coming home. They're going to be accustomed to the New World Order. And then it jumps to somebody that was writing out the storm in Houston. And he was asked live on CNN, why aren't you going to a shelter? They're like, man, they're killing people over there. How would you know? How would you know if they're, if they weren't taking people out? Have you seen your local superstore, your local Walmart out there? It's looking a little strange. It's looking a little strange, folks. And this is our post 9/11 world. Feel bad for all those people that never got to party like 1999. Super bad. But it's only going to get worse by ignoring the situation. How many locations like this do you think are set up around the country? What do you think this is? Well, could fit probably about 30 to 50 bodies in each one of those vaults. Here's just a ditch that they could dig instead too, but doesn't really matter. I think they want to keep these as part of they want to keep the corpses as part of some sort of ritualistic sacrifice to basically hold a Burning Man over or something in the future. We don't know what goes through the mind of these people, but if you've looked into the Podesta emails, into Pedogate, to what they do to little children behind closed doors, these people are capable of anything. They put up death mills and call them abortion clinics in just about every neighborhood, and people just drive by it like it's no big deal. Do you know what happens in those abortion clinics? It'd be like the movie Hostel. It wouldn't even make it to the movie Hostel because it's so grotesque. I'd invite anybody to go assist in some sort of abortion procedure. See what they do to the, you want to talk about nasty, hostile, evil. People just drive by that like it's awesome. You even get some sheeple that will protest for these death mills and call it a choice. If a woman has a miscarriage, they lost a baby, but if she walks into one of these death clinics, she just made a choice. And it's none of your business. Just drive along. Just drive along and go visit another town in New Babylon. Why don't you check out New Sodom or New Gomorrah while you're at it out there? Go check out those towns where men look like women and women look like men. It used to be, ladies and gentlemen, it used to be where if you had a kid, like you had a boy and you dressed him up like a girl, that used to be child abuse. Today that will get you Woman of the Year on Time magazine or something like that. That's how far we've fallen as a country, as a society. We've gone from the happy days to whatever this is today. Go watch Nick at Night. Go watch the Happy Days. Go watch The Simple Life or something, back then. Now check things out. What has happened? Do you not see it? Do you not see the change, the difference, the direction that we're going? You don't see it? You think it's my imagination, do you? You've got to be kidding me. I love reading the comments because it's always fun to see the sheeple flip out the first time they're confronted with things like this. I get a kick out of it, to be honest with you. Puts a smile on my face. But it reminds me, and I'm sure it reminds everybody, of how much further we have to go. We've woken up quite a few people, but there's miles and miles to go. Have you noticed the clones walking amongst us? Anyone? Doesn't bother you? It's supposed to be illegal. Look at that one, Keisha. Keisha's a man. Did you know that? Did you know that? It doesn't bother you? It doesn't bother you that you might go to the bar and you think you're talking to a cute girl, but it's actually a guy? That doesn't bother you? That bothers me. Actually, I'm offended. That's like some sort of sexual assault. 9/11 is also the anniversary of Hillary Clinton disappearing. She reappeared 2 days later in this Greensboro footage where she glitched off the screen like a CGI layering issue. There she is. It's like They Live, like literally. This was how it was streamed. Well, there she is with the mark of the beast. I mean, it's just awesome. It's just awesome. Selling her book, you know. I mean, there's some people that, that went through this country and made something of themselves, like our current president, and then decided to go into public service. Then there's people that just basically leached off the system their whole entire lives and really gave nothing back. And when you think of how much money Hillary made, I mean, it's not just like a little bit. It's not like welfare. You know how bad we get on people that are, cheating on their EBT cards, right? Imagine what Hillary has basically stolen from the system. Billions of dollars. She's worth billions now because, because she sold us out. And there's a high probability that this Hillary is a clone or something. And I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that. But if I had to bet, I'd say she's a clone. How would you be able to test it to be sure? You couldn't test it. They won't let you. There was never an explanation. Excuse me. There was never an explanation for the whole 9/11 last year. Really. Definitely a lot more questions than answers. Just like everything that we discovered during the Hillary campaign, to be honest with you. Whether it be them rigging the DNC, robbing all of the poor Democrats of their right to vote. And, all of the pay-to-play stealing or selling government secrets. I mean, it came out that she basically handed classified information to people that were not authorized to get it through email. They talked about it and it just went away. Anybody else that would do that, they would be locked up for 10 to 20 years. In any case, we're not going to dwell on Hillary. But we don't think she's human. Neither, most of the people that we celebrate probably are some sort of puppets. Whether it be the celebrities or the politicians. Not just like, the symbolic meaning of the word, but literally. Clones or cyborgs. More than likely. You might think that's far out. And I wouldn't blame you if you thought that was far out. I think there's a time when we're all at that level of comprehension. But things are much more complicated than they seem. And the technology is much more advanced than we think it is. And we would be right to even ask the question, what year is it? Where are we really? If you've noticed, the NASA pictures look pretty fake. I'm not sure if anybody's noticed that. But they look extremely fake. There's a lot of questions about that whole NASA thing and what are they hiding? And some people are like, well, it's a flat Earth, dude. And I don't know. I've never seen a flat planet, or can't really fathom being in a being on a two-dimensional planet, yet on a three-dimensional world. Can't imagine us being the exception to the rule in that regard. And there is the problem with two different star maps for the northern and southern hemispheres, which is a little difficult on a flat planet. But they're definitely hiding something. And perhaps part of that answer is, goes back to the Roswell days. The reason the Roswell, New Mexico was a thing is because that's where they were storing all of the nuclear weapons of the world at the time. The very first nuclear weapons were basically stored at Roswell. And according to the unofficial official story, or should we say the official unofficial story, is that they shot down 3 interstellar craft that were looking at that Roswell site. That's the official unofficial story. They didn't just crash. They were shot down by what's referred to as a scalar weapon. It's kind of like a microwave beam. But in any case, imagine, if that's the case, well, whose craft are they? And what do you think they did in response? There's no telling what the ramifications were for such a thing. But perhaps we're looking at the complete silent takeover by this insurgency. Perhaps it's part of the bigger story. And that bigger story is, how did we get here? What's the meaning of life? Now, the fully demonic system has basically indoctrinated the population on the idea that we all come from nothing. We evolved out of dirt, out of a primordial soup. First there was nothing, then there was the Big Bang, and after billions and billions of years, we got here. Just by chance on this perfect Goldilocks planet. What a fairy tale. What a fairy tale. And I'll tell you why. Because the scientists will tell you something about the law of biogenesis. Go look that one up if you got a little time. Write it down. Biogenesis. B-I-O. Genesis. Biogenesis. It says that you cannot get something living from something that is not living. Life can only come from life. You can't get a chicken from a rock. In fact, they've known this since the 1800s, since the Louis Pasteur days. Pasteurization. There is no pathway of chemical evolution from simple or organic compounds to the simplest form of life. And the short answer for why that is basically because proteins can't exist without DNA. Proteins are micro machines. DNA is the programming language that tells the system, the nanofactory, how to self-assemble and replicate. What we're looking at is a program. This is why GMOs work. This is why they can actually program new organisms off of a computer, boot it up into a cell, grow it in a lab, and see what happens. It's a pretty scary concept right there. But what it's telling us is that life is the product of intelligent design. Which means we didn't just show up on this Goldilocks planet by chance. Ladies and gentlemen, we were put here by design. And everything that we're experiencing here is by design. And whatever else is mingling amongst with us is straight out of the pages of the Bible. That's our determination after many years of research. Haven't seen one reason to doubt. And the more you understand that, the more it makes sense why they're trying to give birth to a beast system. Why all these people are basically pushing their Luciferian agenda. These people are all channeling the devil somehow. Trying to sucker you into their Santa Claus. You know what I mean? Starting to see the cloud lift. Getting a little clearer for you, maybe. So this is an epic struggle of good versus evil. Have no doubt about it. And these evildoers are hell-bent on world destruction. They are hell-bent on everything that is anti-natural and anti-Christian in nature. That's why they're trying to destroy our country from within. Because America is the last, big holdout for Christians in the world. It is the most Christian-dominated country in the world. Have you been to Europe lately? The churches are empty. They're being, transformed into something else. And it's a full-blown occult society out there. America is the last hope for Christians and for Christianity in the secular plane, in terms of, countries, let's say. So we are target number one of the dark side, and we cannot trust our neighbors, we cannot trust our allies, our friends. These people are of the dark side. Take the British, for example. People won't believe this. Take the British. Basically over there, it's a full-blown pedo society. There are decades worth of historic sex crimes that that are there, that people know about, but that they're not investigating. Every year at their Macy's Day Parade, they bring out statues of Mog and Amog, the symbolic armies of the devil from the Book of Revelations. They've been celebrating that since the 1300s. I mean, they are the most full-blown occult society, more than likely, on the planet. That's where you get the Aleister Crowleys. That's where you've got Stonehenge. That's where you got all these, where all the Freemasonry comes from. Oh, yeah. So, in any case, our best friends in the world are really our frenemies, if you think about it in terms of right and wrong. And they're all attacking us and making it so that we lose this war. I mean, why do you think the BBC was in on 9/11? Remember, the BBC was like broadcasting 30 minutes before Building 7 went down. I mean, what the F does the British have to do with our 9/11? Well, they were in on it. Why is that? Did you know in Canada, our neighbors to the north, they were able to have sex with 14-year-olds up until just a few years ago. They moved it up to 16. They legalized having sex with animals. And, they're all for this New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. That's our friends to the north. How about our friends to the south in El Mexico? Well, it looks like the Middle East down there. It's a full-blown war zone. I don't know what's going on, but we definitely need a 50-foot wall with like robot sentries and the like. But our friends are not our friends, and the people that we think are our enemies are probably more like us than we think. This is one of the reasons why they're pushing the Russian story. Russia is an Orthodox Christian country, and they still frown upon homosexual propaganda. And of course, according to NBC, Rachel Madcow, and CNN, oh, those people can't be trusted. Really, you don't say. Why do you think that is, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, it's because we're dealing with cult members worldwide, and they're in it together like a bunch of Charlie Manson groupies. And when they're not busy poisoning the food supply, the air supply, the water supply, they're erecting monuments like the Georgia Guidestones. They're chemtrailing your skies, plotting your demise. And the whole fact, I mean, just the idea that they were able to bury the spirit cooking, bury 9/11, bury the Hillary investigations, bury everything that the Obama did. And it just tells you that this tyranny is relentless. It's skull and bones versus skull and bones each and every time out there. It's worse than a rigged system, and these people are, like we said, in it together like a bunch of Charlie Manson groupies. It's religious. Now, you may not believe in anything, but if you got to choose between Christians and these devil worshippers, pay attention to what these people are into. Pay attention to the historic, ritualistic sex crimes related to Luciferian things. We've been talking about this for decades. Cannibalism, debauchery. I mean, it's just all, it's all bad news. It's all bad news. And if you really knew what these people were plotting, planning, you'd definitely be with the Christian folk, even if you're not a believer. Again, I mean, these people are going to be spawning Skynet, Terminators, AI. I'm not sure if people really understand what that means. If they understood what that means, they might just stop for a second and think about it, because the implications are world-changing, world-ending. These people are absolutely plotting the assimilation and extermination of humankind. What will survive will be transformed into cyborgs, transhumans. Not transsexual, transhuman. Go look up that. Transhuman. Go check out 2045.com. Go see how serious they are. If you understood what's coming, you might give up some of the stupid things that you're doing, and pay more attention and be more involved in freeing humanity and saving future generations. Everybody wants to be a superhero, right? Be a superhero in your community. Start organizing in your area. Start waking people up. Start running for office. Start getting these topics in the news. They're poisoning the food. They're poisoning the water. They're poisoning the air. It's not just Flint, Michigan. 80% of the water is contaminated with either hexachromate or microbeads, plastics, and all sorts of other nasty things that can't even be filtered. Any case, bring up these issues. Bring up the chemtrails. Bring up Building 7. Start a 9/11 truth party. Make them talk about Building 7. They'll want to talk about something else, but just talk about Building 7. Because that's the head scratcher. No matter who looks at Building 7, the way it comes down like a controlled demolition, or the way they announced it half hour before it collapsed. Anybody who looks at the evidence, you just can't deny it. And if Building 7 was a lie, it's all a lie. You even had the owners of the building saying, "Oh yeah, we had to pull it. We had to pull it, man. We wanted to save some lives. We're being heroic." In any case, be a superhero in your community. Organize. Use your talents. Use your gifts. and keep pushing. Keep pushing. Raising awareness makes a difference, but know that this isn't about Republican versus Democrat. It isn't about black versus white. This is about good versus evil. There are evildoers in every country, in every demographic, male, female, black, white, Hispanic, you name it. There are good people and evil people everywhere. And the evil people are all working together, connected to a hive mind. Connected to a hive mind. It's like they live, body snatchers. They're all working together, they got a program, they are organized. And the rest of us are just trying to figure out what we're waking up to. And we're just looking at these isolated events like 9/11 or chemtrails or the Georgia Guidestones, and we don't see the link between them. We're like, oh man, there's a lot of crazy people out there. Oh. Evil is as evil does, ladies and gentlemen. And all of this stuff isn't happening by chance. It's part of a plan. They have purpose. They're organized. We need to organize. This is our small window of opportunity before the Terminators start rolling out, before they automate every process on the planet, which basically renders humans unnecessary. Once they fully automate industry from mining to manufacturing, from start to finish, you can be sure then they'll start rolling out a whole different level of change on the planet. So, but on this day, on this 11th of September, it isn't just about the victims that we lost, but it's about those that survived as well in this post 9/11 world and what's to come. We still have it really good compared to the future of humanity. And have no doubt that they are planning the full assimilation of humankind. They're going to take every job away, render everyone defenseless, hopeless, destitute, out on the street. They're already replacing doctors, lawyers, you name it. 85% of the jobs are going to be eliminated by the year 2025, according to the Department of Labor. Imagine what an 85% unemployment rate is going to look like. It's going to look like the movie Soylent Green when they're all out there waiting for the food. Remember that? Oh, it's Tuesday. That's what it's going to look like. Then they're going to offer their perfect solution, their final solution. And that's to get a brain chip. Connect with the Matrix. Connect with the hive mind so that you'll be able to compete for the jobs of tomorrow. It's going to become a job requirement. And once you plug in, you're basically going to be an avatar for the Matrix, for the Skynet. Complete assimilation, like the Borg. Do you understand what's coming? You don't see it yet? You'll get it eventually. Once they start rolling out the iRobots, once you start seeing people brain chip, cyber enhanced, it's going to be a more advanced race, so to speak, a breakaway civilization, and nothing that is human will survive. You can absolutely bet on it, and that's what's coming. So, yeah. Just in time for the holiday season. Way to cheer you all up. Or should we say just in time for Halloween, which is coming up fairly soon. Can you believe it's already that time of year? Summer's just about gone. It's unbelievable how fast time flies. But the clock is ticking, and we can be distracted with stories about hurricanes or stories about North Korea or the Russians. It isn't the Russians that are coming to get you. It's Skynet. It's the Matrix. It's Google and company. That's who's coming to get you. Under the control of the dark side, of the devil. Have no doubt about it. That's what you should be worrying about. And anything else is really just a distraction. So, every day they're going to keep coming out with a new story for you to focus on. But if they're not talking about Skynet, chemtrails, GMOs, vaccines, the water supply, if they're not talking about the silent weapons in a silent war, if they're not talking about how to reinvestigate 9/11, if they're not talking about sending Hillary to prison, they're fucking lying to you. That's right, listen. They are lying to you. And everybody knows they're lying to you. Why are they lying to you? Why do you think they lied to you about 9/11? Why do you think they're lying to you about the safety of vaccines, or of the what's in the food, or the safety of these death towers that are everywhere now? Why do you think they're doing that? Because they're out to get you. What do you think? They're just lying to you because there's no other way? There's no other way to make money? There's no other way to communicate? There's no other way to protect children? Really? No. They're doing this for a reason, and it's right there on the Georgia Guidestones. Just ask the people that were in building 1 or 2, or who died in the line of duty or in service in these endless wars based on false pretenses. If you don't think they're serious about taking people out, you better think again. And right now, our best friend in government is Trump, whether you like him or not. He's the only one calling the news fake. He's the only one telling the swamp they gotta go. And whether they talk about it or not, initially he was on the record saying, "Oh, there's no way 9/11. I mean, these planes could have taken down the World Trade Center." Everybody's seen that clip, right? There's just no way. I mean, these buildings were built to resist multiple airstrikes, multiple plane hits. They were built with industrial steel, the toughest steel you could find. And on the outside, it was set up like a grid matrix-like pattern, like mosquito netting on your door, on your windows. If you poke a hole in it with a pencil, the whole thing doesn't just crumble into dust. The support is basically diverted into what's left. And then there was an inner core. I mean, it was a building within a building. I mean, these things were like indestructible. The whole idea that 2 planes, crashed into these buildings and made them turn into confetti is preposterous, and everybody knows it. And if anything were to happen like that, the tops of those buildings above the impact zone would have just slid off asymmetrically, twisted off, and fallen to the ground. It wouldn't have all just crumbled into dust. That'd be like saying, if you took a machete and you chopped like some kind of steel bar into 2, or something like that the whole thing would just turn into dust. It's insane. But that's what happened at free fall speed, just like a controlled demolition. Plus, you got all the CGI, you got the business, you got the building owners like, "Oh, we had to pull it." And there's all sorts of money that was made, trillions missing, and all of a sudden, just it all went away. So, I mean, if they can do 9/11, imagine what else they can do. They can kill little children in the local death clinics in your town. Imagine what else they can do. That's nothing. So we should all be pretty much eyes wide open out there. No excuse not to. Then there's all the other freaky stuff going on that really has no other explanation other than to say, we're not in Kansas anymore, and it may not even be the year 2017. So there's no telling what's going on, really. But we've got an idea. I think that's better than what most people are thinking when they watch CNN, thinking everything's awesome. Maybe it is better that way. I mean, they say ignorance is bliss. Sometimes you just have to wonder, you know, if you could go back to being asleep in the pre-9/11 world, would you do it? Would you party like it was 1999 all over again? Maybe. But regardless of what we think about 9/11, it did one thing, and it woke us all up. At least, you know, half of us out there. And maybe that was its real purpose. You never know. You never know how sneaky things might be in the Matrix, in this constructed reality, because that's what it is. We didn't just get here by chance. And whatever the true circumstances are of our existence, we may never know, but it isn't just some sort of random thing, and we're not alone. So don't think that you are. And in these in these types of situations, the best thing to do is to keep your Bible near and dear to you. And that's your guidebook. That's your handbook on life. That's your foundation. And, if you follow the 10 Commandments, things go pretty smoothly. And as soon as you start straying away from that, then you got demons coming out of the shadows, and karma hits, and it's a bitch, if you know what I mean. Any case, we'll leave this broadcast there. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out our website, stfnews.com. Be sure to check out our Facebook feed. You may not get all of the notifications, but we try and update that several times a day. And, stay safe out there. Like we said, eyes wide open. And, of course, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.